Hey everybody, this is Perch. I got an email here from a viewer asking what can comic shops do, basically to survive, grow their business, etc. Um, we'll get into that, and I'll read this mail to you. But one of the interesting things in the stories that are circulating right now is somebody did a story and kind of an update on Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble, big bookstore, big chain, and everything else. And Barnes and Noble was I don't want to say near death because that's too extreme, but certainly it wasn't having the best time. And Barnes and Noble is actually having this weird kind of resurgence. They're actually starting to expand again, and it's kind of a fascinating story to hear how Barnes and Noble basically is surviving as a group. And one, by the way, interesting side note of what it isn't in the article. You can go to Google and search it, but you might find it difficult to go to Google and search it because Google is suppressing the results of this story, which I find absolutely fascinating. Anyway, it's an interesting thing to kind of keep your eye on. But Barnes and Noble has actually figured out a way to stabilize its business to some extent, which I think if you're a comic shop, it's worth looking into because they did some approaches that actually make a little bit of sense. But let's get to this mail and kind of talk through that. It says, Dear Perchington, you've given me a middle name here. Hope you're doing well. I've been a loyal customer to my local shop ever since I started earning my own money, about 17 years. There's my favorite store in the whole city, but truly there are other stores that are bigger and carry more stuff and appeal to a larger customer base. I go to my local store every week after work and chat with the guys running the shop for hours. That's why I do this channel right there. It's clear that they see some of the challenges that they're facing, most of which have to do with their owner's old school mentality. For example, they only recently established a website, and that was mostly due to Upper Deck. On top of that, they don't have a modern POS system that's per point of sale, not piece of shit. And as far as cataloging goes, it's all done by pen and paper and reliant on memory. Which what this person is describing, by the way, is a greater number of stores than you would suspect, or maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. What a lot of stores operate this way. Anyway, back to the mail. It says there are usually two factors for why nothing changes: either not enough money to invest in those upgrades and changes, or it's worked this way for the last 30 plus years. Usually, those two go hand in hand with each other. By the way, I wonder what are some things that shop could do to help offset their costs. Would there be some kind of marketing that they could leverage from the publishers or other brands in the store? Example, DC pays for a whole wall, and therefore only DC product could be displayed on that wall. This is similar to the way things worked when I worked at Best Buy, where certain brands own parts of the store, only their product could be displayed there. By the way, these programs did used to exist. Actually, Marvel and DC both used to have a marketing stipend, particularly DC, for stores to promote, run ads, kind of do things. There was even kind of in the early 90s, there was store kind of beautification money that you could tap into. There's a lot of things that where if you did something and then you sent them imagery, and by the way, they were super, super lax about it. So not nearly to the standards of like Best Buy or, big box stores. I know Barnes and Noble, referring to earlier, have sections of the store they'll devote to a particular product, and the company will pay for that. But in comics, they used to give money to shops to run these kinds of promotions. Now that stopped. They don't do that anymore. And in a lot of the marketing material that publishers used to send to shops also dried up. So anyway, it's been a lot over the years, but there's really nothing like that now. Back to the mail. It says, as a retailer, what are some things you would do that would help your shop? And I'll throw this guy, let's see, throw me out a shout out if you like. Okay, so we're going to shout out to NerdGab, spelled like it sounds, NerdGab on Instagram or nerd_gab on Twitter. So there you go. So thanks, NerdGab. So what can shops do? Well, I mean, I've said before, the best thing you could do is diversify, but that's stabilizing your business. You think about cross promotion. What I tell a lot of shops is, figure out what your audience likes to do. There's plenty of comic shops with an old school mentality, but they are doing greater customer service than they realize. You, the letter writer, mentioned that you go in and talk for hours to the owner of that shop. Well, why not? If that shop wants to, there's a bunch of stuff they could do with that conversation, like Could they actually just start a live stream in the shop and have a conversation in the shop where they just have an open mic, people come up and talk, and they just put that stuff out there? That would be interesting. They could make a podcast of it. They could do lots of techie things where that's concerned. Or if they don't want to go into technology, they could simply promote more of what they're already doing, meaning promote at the shop. Hey, Wednesday nights, we're talking about Marvel. Thursday nights, we're talking about indies. Friday nights, we're talking about the 80s. Like whenever, like put this schedule up where you encourage customers to come into the shop to have the conversations they're already having, just slightly more structured. This is a good idea because you will find that some customers really want to talk about the 80s. And so they'll go out of their way to actually go to your shop more often because you're basically promoting, we're going to have kind of conversations around certain topics on these times, and come on in. And then this is where you want to go on Facebook or Twitter and you want to promote the fact that you're doing this. And what you're going to find is that certain, comic creators will actually make it a point to come visit your shop during times when, that's of interest. And then you get some organic growth that way. Think about what you've done. If you were to say, hey, every night at the shop, or every, not even every night, like some nights we're doing, we're going to be talking about, blank, whatever the topic might be. You would get people hooked on that conversation. You will get people coming to the store more often. Now, what you will also find is that you're going to get a lot of people coming to your shop and not spending money because they're coming for the conversation and not the comics. But put it this way, your comic shop will look more lively. There will be more people there. It will be, it will feel energetic. One of the things that people who are into marketing will tell you is that if your shop looks like it's busy, if it looks like there's heavy traffic there, it'll do better. It feels like it's the place to be. And the reality is you get a bunch of nerds in a shop, and I count myself as one of those nerds, but if you get a bunch of us in a shop talking, invariably, even people who showed up for the conversation will buy something. I mean, they're surrounded by tantalizing product everywhere. They're going to buy something. So you are going to make money. You're not going to make like huge, your cost to your dollar to hour ratio won't work out particularly good, but it will overall help the atmosphere of your store. It will give your store something unique to talk about. It's a good idea. Give it a shot. In addition to this, things that you could do in your store. And this is one of those pieces of advice that I do not understand why more people don't do this. So these kind of two pieces of advice. Number one, give regulars in your store the ability to pick one comic they like a month that they think is great. Like the reader's pick of a comic. Give this to your box customers. What this does is it gets customers in your store helping to promote comics that you're selling for nothing, free of charge, and your customers will feel more loyal to you because they feel like they're part of the overall mission of the store. It will also start to build up some personalities in your store. You could. This is literally as simple as go to your local Staples, whatever, buy some note cards, fold the note card in half in a little L shape, have person write why they like the comic, put it on the shelf next to that comic or under the comic. You're done. It takes no work whatsoever. Again, go to Barnes and Noble and look at how they're doing it. They're doing this thing for manga right now. In some cases, it's written on tape. Like this is so freaking easy to do, but it makes your shelf look more alive. It makes it look like you're getting peer-to-peer recommendations. It's a good idea. And the second part of this is do a better job with, if you like this book, you will also like that book. Again, as a store owner, by the way, all the ideas I'm giving right now really take zero extra work from you. It's all dead simple advice. It makes your store feel more alive. It makes your store feel like there's more traffic there. They're just good, free, dumb, simple ideas. But do a better job of connecting the dots. Look, the publishers are not doing that for you. It is, in fact, one of the best ways. If you're right now, you would like to promote more indies because who knows? You're pissed at Marvel and DC or whatever. They're a bunch of dicks. Who knows? For whatever reason, you don't like Marvel and DC. You wish more people would buy indie books. Therefore, the best thing to do is make some recommendations. If you like X-Men, you would like this indie. That's the kind of stuff you need to do. Make those recommendations, introduce people to more product. That's going to help a lot. I could go on and on with suggestions. Those are three very simple ones. Try it. Just the key here, though, you'll notice that everything is about building energy, building momentum, getting people in your store, talking about things. These are all good ideas. And of course, I'll repeat again, diversify. Start selling other things. No, not just Funko, for fuck's sake, things that are actually not garbage. Um, Start selling other things, get more people into your shop, and don't make it about you. A lot of comic shop owners sink because they sell what they want to sell. But remember, your customer is king. Your customer is the one with the money. Listen to what they want and supply that product. That's what you do. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail, and thanks for listening.